what a nightmare this job's going to be. Come and have a look. See if we can get the EV charger down to the bottom of this garden. Just did a quick take one. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video to find out what our biggest challenge was on this job. Let's have a quick peek into the house just to see where we're going to be able to run our cables sort of throughout the property. Right, so today's challenge is we need to install an EV car charger right down the bottom. We're going to have to go all the way through the garden, right into the property, and then of course, like everything, the main consumer unit and fuse is right at the back of the property. So there's going to be lots of challenges within this job, but it's going to be a fun one. Nice bit of digging. Not that I'm going to be digging, I've got the lads on that. But yeah, and installing that, I'm just going to talk you through sort of what we're doing and show you our challenges. So this is where we're going to be installing the client's new EV charger. So we've opted for a Zappi 7.4 kilowatt. There's going to be a bit of pruning going on, just so once it's actually installed, we're able to get the cable plugged in, okay? And again, it's going to go over the wall, and then the client's going to be able to park the car outside and get their charging. We're going to be installing a 10mm 3-core SWA cable to actually supply the power to it. Because we're down at the bottom of the garden, it does have sort of a poor Wi-Fi signal. We've done the tests on it, and it's not going to work. So we're going to run a new cat cable, hardwire it right up inside into the Zappi, just so that the client can access their app, look at history, scheduling, everything else that the app brings. As well as that, while we're running that, we're going to run another cable down to be able to sort of clamp onto to use for the CT clamps, just for the load management side of it. So as Max starts getting digging in the front garden, ready for the cables, using the pogo stick technique of digging. What we'll do is just speed Max up a little bit, go inside, we'll have a look how Ethan's getting on, drilling through an 800mm stone wall. I think he's going to be there for a little while. So on this project we've got a lot of challenges, not only getting through the garden, getting from the front wall to the house itself, but then actually once we're in the house, it's trying to get from the front to the back. So fortunately we've got this cellar, so downstairs in the cellar, again we've got other challenges, there's lots of cables, lots of pipe work. So in some areas what we're going to be doing is running the 10mm SWA just across the ceiling. Certain areas across the front bit we can't get into where the joists are because they've all been taken up by the plumbers. So what we're going to be using these, the Fischer DuoTec 10. They're a bit of a game changer in my mind. What they are is basically a raw plug. Got nice metal fixings in it as well, so once you've got a metal screw onto it, it's really solid. And what we do, pop them down, we drill a 10mm hole through the ceiling, and then as we're pushing them up, spring out, you pull them down, clamps onto the sort of ceiling itself, and then we've got a little white plug at the bottom, pushes up and just clamps between the plasterboard and the top. From there, just snip the bottom off, and then we can get our plug or screw through right into the plug, and it gives a really secure connection, so nothing's going to be sort of falling down on those. As well as that, couple that up with a Dlink wrap and tie, screw through there onto the bottom, and then this will bend round onto the cable, giving it a nice metal fixing. So as me and Elliot start running the SWA cable from the board round to the front, where Ethan's still drilling through the hole. Poor Ethan's drew the short straw on this one. For any of the tradesmen out there that like to slander us poor electricians for not tidying up after ourselves, make sure you stick around to the end of the video for some real video evidence of us cleaning up. we go, sounds like Ethan's nearly through. Let's take a quick look outside, see how Max is getting on. So after all that drilling, I think Ethan deserves an epic video shot, so check out this shot. What a masterpiece. I bet Max regrets offering now to do all the digging. So whilst drilling, me and Max have had a bit of a bet who can get closest with a little yellow X on the wall. There's Ethan through. Max has it this time. Bang on. Don't be shy, Max. So what we're doing is we've got some Copex that we're going to be pulling some cables through. So what we've done is just put a pull wire through, just to pull back the cables, and then that can get buried underneath and protected. So another one of the challenges is trying to get through into the back office area, because it's on different layers where we need to drill through the consume units directly behind it, and also there's a lot of pipe work coming through. So what we're going to have to do is to try and drill through just into the void between the ceiling and then try and fish it out. So on the camera all I've done is just got a little bit of copper, taped it to the end of it. You can just see it on screen there. Just bent round just to create a little hook, and then what we're able to do with the camera is push it into the void, look around, see if we can find that cable, and then hopefully be able to hook it about and then pull it back. So there we go, we've found the cable. So just get back, pull it back through, get my long nose pliers just to get it through this last final bit. And there it is. So what we'll do is just have a quick tape up, get the cat cables onto that, and then we'll be able to pull the drawer wire back through, straight into the office, and then be able to make it off. So back to this end, we've managed to get the cat cable through. Don't know exactly how we did it, a bit of a miracle, but so we threw it into here. So the client has got their own network switch here, and what we're going to be doing is patching into here and then feeding it all the way through, down the cellar, down to the garden, and then wiring it, hardwiring it straight into the Zappi charger, so that we can get a good internet access down there and be able to access it through the phones. So obviously once we get the other end done at the Zappi charger, we'll get the tester onto it, we'll give it a good test, make sure all the connections are alright, no missed wires, and yeah, we're ready to go. So this is the consumer unit that we've installed for the car charger itself. So traditionally we used to sort of come into the old sort of consumer unit, and here there was sort of an allowance made for it. The problem you can have is because we were limited to just a maximum of 100 amp on the main fuse, and we've got the potential to put power into another one, we can sort of overload the actual sort of 100 amp sort of main fuse. So what we do these days is we install a consumer unit. This one's specially sort of set up for an EV charger. So when we use an EV charger, there's certain things that we have to use. The main thing being is the protection for the Zappi charger itself. So in this case, this needs to be a double pole RCBO, with a lot of other ones, sort of 𝐂𝐨𝐬s and so on, they're only actually a single pole. So, but as part of the installation is it needs to have sort of double pole protection. Also, with Amendment 3 coming in, the actual RCB needs to be bi-directional. So, so basically, especially more with solar, especially when you've got batteries, the current sort of power coming in and out of it. Traditionally, with a single pole one, it would only trip in one direction. So, with any sort of renewables, that's why we need to make sure that any RCBOs we are installing are bi-directional. So, and again, it's got that. It's got a Type 2 surge protector on it. And in this case it's just got a little 32 amp MCB that then goes on to protect the surge protector. We're at the main fuse now.
got the meter, and then what's important to do for the Zappi charger is to measure what's going on inside. So how it does it is through the CT clamp, or a current transformer. And what we've done is a cable ran all the way from the bottom of the garden all the way through the building, coming through, and for that we've used a sort of a standard sort of cat cable through here, and then what we've done is just jointed it onto the actual CT clamp itself, and then this is sort of just here ready to measure all of the current coming through, so the Zappi can understand what's going on, and if it has to limit the usage for the EV, and then that's what it does. So.
Test cable's all buried, filled back up, stick some electrical warning tape, and just in case of sort of filling it all, and then putting the turf back down. You never know we've been here.
So I'm absolutely exhausted. Just finished off putting all the turf back in, so that's all the cables now ran down into the ground. It's all buried. We've gone past all the shrubbery, dug that up, and all the cables are now ready to go just up into where we're going to be installing the car charger. So for this project, what I've chose is the MyEnergi Zappi 7kW, and this is the 2.1 version that has a LAN port as standard. As previously mentioned in the video, we've got a poor sort of signal down the bottom of the garden, Wi-Fi signal, so what we decided to do was just run a hardwired cable down network and also one for the CT clamps. So really, MyEnergi Zappi ticked every box. Is really good at load management through the CT clamps. Although we haven't got solar here, it really is good for sort of diverting any excess solar sort of back into the car. So that's really sort of one of the main sort of benefits of sort of MyEnergi, other than being a great product. So here we are, I've got the Zappi charger, and this is where we're going to be installing it, just down at the bottom of the garden. As you can see, the stonework is all sort of in and out. So what we're going to be doing, I've got my nice yellow pen. We're finding where we're going to go. We'll be drawing round it, and then what we'll be doing is, once we've got our area, we'll shallow all this out, get it nice and flat, so it recesses this back into the stonework. And then once it's actually up there, be nice and accessible, plug it in, get the cable over the wall for the client to have their car charger.
Little Elliot gets ready, doing all the dirty work, getting all nice and flat out, so we can recess the Zappi car charger. So once we've got this done, this will be the last job of the day, and we'll get back tomorrow and get finished off.
Right, back again for another day. This time all cleared up. Got absolutely filthy yesterday. Got hosed down once I got home. Fresh new haircut because I was looking like a scarecrow. So here we are. I say good day yesterday. Got everything all in. The boards were all installed. Got the Zappi charger installed as well. So it's literally all ready to be turned on, tested and commissioned. And then once we've tested that, we'll be setting the client's phone up, so they've got access sort of via the app. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Also, just because of the 60 amp fuse that we've still got on, what I've done is set up a data logger that we're going to be installing onto the consumer unit, the main input and the new EV charger. And what that allowed me to do is just to assess sort of what the usage has been. I'll be able to follow that for the next couple of weeks, just double checking everything's okay until the DNO comes out and upgrades it to 100 amp. So let's get started.
So on this project, what we're going to do is set up a data logger. Basically, it's going to allow us to see what's actually being consumed in the property, because we've got the two boards. Going to be able to see what's going on one board for the main house, and then another one with the EV charger as well. So whenever we're doing sort of energy monitoring, I tend to go for a product called Emporia.
What it does, this particular unit allows you to plug 16 individual CT clamps, so we can go into individual circuits, ovens, ring circuits and so on, but not going to go too in depth into that today. We're going to make another video later on, so make sure you like and subscribe to sort of keep up to date with that one. So with this particular sort of system, what I've done is set up a little board. So basically built into it, this is the unit itself. So it has a sort of Wi-Fi access point, so that's going to allow us to connect onto the internet, so it can send us real-time information so we can see what goes on. In this case, I've got 3 CT clamps. One's going to go over the main income, so we can see what's going on there. And then I've got another one that's going to clip onto the car charger consumer unit, and then a one for the consumer unit for the main house. And then what I'm able to do is just sort of assess it, see what we're actually using. So what we're going to do is install the data logger just as a temporary, just while we can sort of analyse what's going on for the next sort of few weeks, just make sure everything's sort of all working right. So we're going to get the CT clamps on, we're going to get one onto the main, one onto the EV charger and one onto the main distribution board. So just get those set up.
So while we're doing this, just off camera, I've set it all up, set it up onto the client's Wi-Fi so that it can send me data so I can just analyse what's going on. Also, what we're doing, just as a quick check, we're going to sort of take a reading at the front on the main income with the CT clamps and just compare that to the readings that I'm getting through the data logger, and everything's fine. I'm going to do another video just specialising in sort of the data logger and sort of the energy monitoring. So make sure you like and subscribe the channel.
Right, so just going through the actual commissioning side of it. So starts up, just work your way through the wizard. Basically, because we've got a hardwired Ethernet into it, it's picked it up and it knows it needs a sort of firmware upgrade. So it's just going through that process at the moment. We've also been into it, part sort of G100 compliance, just to make sure that we limit it. So this time, because of the 60 amp fuse, and I keep saying about it, so we've set this so it will never try to pull more than 60 amp. It works sort of via the load management system on it, talks to the CT clamp that we've installed over there, so it sees what's actually happening at the property. So when there's busy times, when sort of the shower's on, the electric shower, the cooker, the hob, and the house is consuming a lot of electricity, this understands what's going on. And then if we're trying to charge the car at the same time, what it does, it limits how much output is actually going through to the car. It's just as a safety feature, so we're not blowing the main fuse. Right, so it's all set up, configured, firmware's upgraded, so now what I've got to do is just carry out a few tests on the actual sort of charger. So today using sort of Mega X1 and the EV sort of adapter. What this allows us to do is to put the car into, or the tester, and it believes it's the car connected onto it, into different states, whether it's plugged in, whether it's charging, and then just by selecting it, and then also through there we're able to perform different tests just to see sort of how it works and whether it actually sort of the charger itself recognises it's in different states. So as we go through, we test it, we press it. As we press the button, it reacts to whatever fault we've put onto the system. So we're just going to carry on sort of testing it, run it through, and yeah, and then that's us done. We can get the front cover onto it and then have a good clear up.
So I said it was going to be a big challenge. One of the biggest challenges we had wasn't so much the actual installation of the product and running it all. It was actually when we got back, we started reviewing the footage and uploading it onto the computer. And a lot of the footage had got corrupted and it would all grayed out.
So within the edgings inside of it, we've tried to introduce a bit of the colour back into it. There's a lot of footage we couldn't use. We've had to adopt some of it, and we've done our best within this video to see what we can do. So anyway, it's over for Max for the final word.
Make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel.